Hi. I realize we have to address this differently because a lot of people have a misconception, and that misconception can be very dangerous. So what's going on? Throughout history, Socrates told us what is the difference between a learned person and a person that wants opportunity, greed and vanity to actually come together to gain popularity amongst the masses. Now, he was put to death because he highlighted situations that was going on at the point in time in his nation, because he awarded the information as intelligence, the intelligence that he did have, to make people question what is going on in front of them. And when that began happening, he had an individual who was an understudy. So Plato learned a lot. It's interesting. His last words wasn't to plead for his life, but it was to ask one more question. So what I'll ask you all now, one person in particular, if you're a Trinidadian and you're really seeing what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago right now, why would you let yourself be a minstrel? And being that you're based in Atlanta, why would you let yourself be compelled to make money off of Trinidad and Tobago without doing research, especially when you went to such a prestige and premier place like MIT, especially when Mr. Schultz handpicked you to work with him as the youngest vice president in that company? It's interesting. Let's get to something. Since you want to go off the tandem pole and jump over hurdles that you're not supposed to be jumping while doing things to your born country that you're never supposed to be doing. So Mr. Schultz gave you opportunity. Do you know who Dutch Schultz was? Did you know what he did to the race of individuals in New York years ago? Do you know what he was proud to say and do? Do some research on that, because I realize you're a thinker. But a wise Trinidadian man said to Mr. Harry Belafonte years ago, the smartest individuals on paper are not the smartest individuals in the room. And that was said to Mr. Belafonte via a Trinidadian many decades ago. I'm teaching you this because 10 to 1 is a very interesting phrase. Atlanta is a very interesting place. Also, individuals who promote sexuality as marketing is something very interesting. So I'm highlighting this to you for many reasons, because you're a learned person. You're not really a smart person. Money is different. Meaning, in 2026, money can make you have multiple bot accounts and not respect certain ethnicities. Also, trauma affects the human mind in a lot of different ways. So, there was a robbery when a certain prayers, as in a Hindu prayers, was going on in Trinidad and Tobago history. And you know who was the figurehead and the spokesperson to the police officers? Also, who was the most upset? A one Barry Padarat. Yes, that guy. You know what he said about melanin people? He said, as long as I live, I will get back every ape, every orangutan, every disgusting black person that is in Trinidad and Tobago for what they have done to me today. Right. So, if you think I'm lying, you can do your history, your research. Now, Trinidadians and many people all over the world drink something called Jack Daniels. Have you ever done the history of the number 38 brand? Or should I say 138 for some people who don't know, because some people remember it like that. Do you know it was a slave that made this? It's interesting. While I'm saying that, is the half shade from the wall came across my face. Do you know it was stolen from him? And now, one of the most popular brands in the history of the world. Do you know the story of Miss Joy Bliss with a certain fried chicken brand? Do you know she sold it because she was told that definitely it wouldn't amount to anything? But guess what? We have KFC throughout the world, and we have the highest selling branch in Trinidad and Tobago right now. Right. There's a reason I'm highlighting these things to you, sir. AI usage, I've always hated it because I found it was very interesting. How come so much negatives are being utilized throughout the resources of Mother Nature and hurting humanity, and still people promoting it? No, I'm a music collector long before you even started to go to school. I observe education with a passion, and being who I am, God gave me certain gifts also. So one of these gifts is long-term memory, more than a terabyte by far, but based from flesh. I don't use electronics to mold people's minds into certain ideas in any format, but I do love history with a passion. And you know what history causes people to do? They show when a creature of passion, morning, a creature of passion happens. Meaning, anything you're passionate about, you'll do your most to achieve. And I like where you've achieved, so don't get it twisted. I'm not coming at you in any format, because I'm a very big Sierra fan, especially a certain song named Ride featuring Luda. Now, with that being said, when people use bot accounts, furthermore, promote segregation of the masses for personal gain, this is which part I have a problem. Now, there's one individual who constantly uses, let's say, popularity, slander, along with entertainment to show that he's doing positive for the country. But on many occasions, it didn't happen. He's one of the supporters of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And right now, the segregation in Trinidad and Tobago is vast. So I ask you, and I urge you, when thinking about selling out and studying what you could make, as in just coin off of Trinidad and Tobago, observe what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago, because people are equally as important as your bank account. Now, I've been based in hospitality for nearly 3 decades. You know what's nice? The reaction when people actually loosen up after having a stiff drink. Wine is good for the heart. Confession is good for the soul. Now, young educated man, now a multi-millionaire. Have you ever done the research on the names in Trinidad and Tobago? Have you done research on Naparima? Have you done the research on Lady Ho Choi? Have you done the research on Duke Street? Have you done the research on Beetham? Have you done the research on Stallmeyer's Castle? There's a reason I'm asking you these questions. Because there's 4 nations throughout the world that hurt Trinidad and Tobago and other parts of the melanated populace throughout the world. And one of those biggest influences is England. Angostura Trinidad and Tobago Limited started in Venezuela 207 years ago. Now, Coca-Cola and Angostura Bitters are the 2 most secured, detailed ingredients, mixes in the history of the world. They claim it with KFC also, and that's why I'm using certain things simultaneously. In New York, this is the base of hip-hop. In Atlanta, people would beg to differ. there was a fool who's a very good actor who tried to use one of Trinidad's words to make his rum brand happen with the advice of an asshole called Drake. With that being said, that didn't work out too right. In Trinidad and Tobago also, condiments made a very big riot happen. Because mustard, pepper, and ketchup, people got on very dread for that in Trinidad. Simultaneously, the same exact way when they tried to use our name for a rum brand when you're not even a fucking Trinidadian. Excuse my French. So, with that being said, when a racist bunch of people so what's very interesting, when you have racist people that literally have a plan for what they're exactly going to do towards individuals of Trinidad and Tobago, especially when what they're bringing to Trinidad and Tobago is something from a Trinidadian to make themselves look good. There's a difference between democracy and aristocrats or racist controlling things throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Now, why I highlighted that stuff with England is that these people a long time ago control a greater part of the Caribbean. So I operate in simultaneous mode for you because you're a sinker like myself, Mark. And many things that are going on in Trinidad and Tobago is making Trinidad and Tobago miss the mark because of what's happening. Now, greed is written about in the Bible, but what is also written about is abomination and abominative relationships. When humanity can literally beg and murder for the purpose of what they want to do as in carnal to other individuals, and because they can't get it, will murder for it. That in itself says something, and that something is very dangerous. So it's interesting when people see the path that you're on and want to change you on purpose and try to come upon you to make you change your beliefs, your actions, and all your ways of being morning, even though the well-being and morals of what you stand for is what is correcting Trinidad and Tobago right now as is. And wisdom comes from experience, nothing else. Some people try to experience wisdom and it doesn't happen. And when many don't want to be taught, they find criticism in everything that they're doing. So slandering somebody's name on purpose to hold on to a bag, as they say, is one of the most in fact I should say unintelligent things to do. But these individuals who claim to be leaders in Trinidad and Tobago right now as we speak are specialists in doing that. So sometimes when you see a unicorn, you have to ask yourself, do I play with it? Do I try to befriend it? Or furthermore, should I just observe the beauty and leave it alone? Now, with that being said, this Trinidad that we're living in right now is by no means okay, but trying to make it okay is very different. Very, very different. So what happens is just like that message came in, usually we get a message of morals, and many people don't ever study to take it on. So it's very important that people know something, because without that, you'll realize, just like Socrates said, you know nothing. Pomegranates and kiwis really help the human body a lot. Also, inspiration to starve the cancers that are in your body is very important. And misconceptions lead to a lot of things. And people need to understand that the cancer was always there inside of you. It's just what you feed it is what makes it grow. Now, the reason I'm highlighting that is that if you're from a nation that has one directive all well and good. But if your greed and vanity shows in all your actions, and you have no positivity in anything that you've done for Trinidad and Tobago, it also shows in your actions. With that being said, I remember a few years ago, somebody's mother literally came on national TV to embarrass him about speaking on how their last name was pronounced. Other than that also, I remember our Prime Minister was holding somebody's bag, as in designer bag that is, and proclaiming it's not his. Also, I distinctly remember, this is 2026 and we're in July. There have been 17 outbursts showing immaturity, non-leadership after you've achieved nothing for Trinidad and Tobago. No, they've said it in the Bible and other religious texts. The eyes are the windows to the soul. There's also something they call spirits. That's why above certain establishments you have to see a sign. So and so, as in referring to owner's name, has the right to sell spiritual liquor. When your spirit is confusion, bacchanal, commerce, and segregation, it shows. So in other words, it's in your DNA. So with that being said, I grew up in Bataria. So Bataria is in my DNA. Ma Singh and father teach me about living together with everybody in harmony. Their son was my best friend. So I consider Rishmi my big sister. Roger teach me about Nintendo. You know why I could bring up these things? Because good nature does exactly what it's supposed to do. Teach you things in a positive manner. I took off my shades, and this is early morning after the rain now. So it's a different concept and a good way of feeling. And vitamin D is very good for the skin. So when your sexuality is more important than the needs of the people, but embarrassing the people is what you like to do, it shows that you're not a leader in any format. So now, if Mr. Farrell, this is your friend, this person is not a friend to the nation. And if you've been under observation, you'd notice that grapes don't grow in Trinidad and Tobago unless it's very cold. And the atmosphere of Trinidad and Tobago is exactly that. It's very cold. So, the truth that is coming out right now, men's hearts are not waxing warm. The evil they're doing is showing up on a daily basis. And when I take off my shades now, I hope you see my face. I'm not an actor in any format. I speak the truth so much it hurts people's feelings. So I want you to understand something. Do some research on somebody called Jermaine Dupri, being that he was one of Atlanta's first individuals to make history for more than 14 reasons. And he started at 17 years old. Do observe who you're supporting, what you're doing, why you're doing it, especially that you're not in Trinidad and Tobago right now. And furthermore, there's a song from Sierra I always loved also. Dedicated to you, Ent. Oh yes. So there's nothing I won't do. You need to understand those words are very powerful. When you're a patriot, you can say those words. But when you're just an aristocrat and somebody is seeking out just profits, you'll never understand those words at all. So with that being said, Trinidad and Tobago, understand that I love you guys. And this has been a lesson in how greed can be seen through those people who always cover their real eyes, but they get seen all the time. Deuces.